Okay, this chapter is about TENS safety and precautions before you get started with a real human in real labor. Let's get started. So first of all, just to cover when not to use the TENS unit. You won't use the TENS unit for a variety of reasons, and we'll go over these step by step. But first to note, there aren't many downsides to using the TENS during labor, other than it can be having side effects from person to person in terms of the dislike of the sensation. Studies are inconclusive regarding exactly how or why this ultimately works, but it might work well for some people and not for others. So just like any other doula relationship we have, just like when we offer comfort touch or words of affirmation, just acknowledging that as a coping technique, if it doesn't suit the person, we don't do it. In the Cochrane review of the TENS, as we just heard, most birthing people who use it said they would use it again in future labors. TENS is not recommended for people with pacemakers, however, and it can't be used while you're in the shower or the bath. It also can't be used if it's feeling too uncomfortable or if you're applying hot packs in the same area. So you don't want to put hot packs over the top of the TENS. And if you have any pregnancy risks or aren't intending to go into labor yet. So it's not something to play with in early or mid-labor unless you speak to your doctor about it. Early or mid-pregnancy unless you speak to your doctor about it. So let's see here. Simple is better in terms of being in person and choosing the right kind of TENS for you. When it comes to labor, their birthing person is not going to have a lot of bandwidth to be able to press around with a lot of different buttons. So I always look for three main features to make sure that it's as simple as possible in those. The first would be the power button is easy access. The intensity button going up and down, so how high intensity or low intensity it offers, and then the rhythm. And the rhythm would allow different sequences. Almost if you think about like a ringtone, it'd be like buzz, 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 pause, or buzz, pause, buzz, pause, buzz, pause. So there's usually about 35 different rhythms. And in this process, I also, in consideration, like to have a TENS unit that has two options. So if somebody wants to be able to plug in the pads on the upper back and the lower back, it can be used all with one unit. And I also like to have extra pads and extra batteries, or take note that in some cases you have one that can be recharged. So you want to make sure to have your battery charger with you. So let's take a look now at just sorting through how to find the best TENS unit. So when choosing your TENS unit, there are many, many options. When I first started doing doula work 30 years ago, I used to have to order them from the UK. But as you can see here, even just one Google search, TENS units for labor, you're going to find many options that might suit you. I tend towards the simpler ones because it's just easier to train somebody in labor to use them on their own. So I tend to not do the one with a lot of different features, but just make it kind of like, okay, the on button and the different settings that include rhythm and intensity. And we are going to go ahead and look through the one that I have here in a moment, and you'll get to see it in action. Okay, so let's see. I have chosen the Magic TENS unit because it has two sets of pads and plugins that you can do. It also has an easy up and down button for intensity and rhythm, and makes it a really easy visible display. A couple of things for you to remember to have on as tips is have fresh pads for each client, or choose a secondary device and have a backup plan. This one can be charged, and so you'll either want extra charger and make sure you also have extra batteries. You want to make sure to read the instructions completely for your particular device, and you want to have any extra massage tools on hand should suddenly the TENS unit be done, or the pads, if you don't have extra pads. You can use the pads up to 10 to 15 times throughout the labor, and be sure to consent your client before use.
Transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation, or TENS, is a non-invasive, drug-free and safe method of controlling pain. TENS is popular for managing labour pain. A mild electrical current is produced by the TENS unit, which you will feel as a tingling sensation on your skin. The electrical impulses produced by the TENS unit can be adjusted higher and lower to suit your comfort. Some TENS units are specially designed for use in labour and have a booster button that delivers more intense impulses during contractions. TENS is safe, portable and easy to use. You can use it at home and in early labour to help keep you moving. When you experience pain in labour, messages are sent along the nerves from the uterus and cervix to the brain. TENS produces a tiny tingling message that also travels along the same nerves to the brain, modifying the body's perception of pain. TENS also increases your body's production of endorphins. These are your body's natural painkillers. Using TENS in labour may improve your comfort and help you to keep active. TENS can help you to feel that you have control over your contractions. It gives you a focus and provides a distraction from your contractions, helping you to feel less anxious. Using TENS early in labour gives you the maximum benefit. TENS works best when you use it in combination with other strategies like relaxation and breathing techniques, movement or massage. The TENS electrodes need to be positioned over the nerve pathways which transmit pain messages during labour. 2 of the pads are placed on either side of your spine, just under where your bra straps sit. The other 2 go lower down, sitting where the dimples of your spine are at the lower back. Once the electrodes are in position, turn the machine on using the intensity buttons. Slowly increase the intensity until you feel a tingling sensation under the electrodes. It should feel definite but comfortable. The intensity may need to be increased as labour progresses because your body will get used to the sensation of TENS. Use the booster control to increase the intensity during a contraction. You will need to remove the TENS if you wish to use the shower or bath during labour, or if your midwife or doctor needs to complete any extra monitoring or procedures. Switch off the unit and remove your electrodes before getting wet. Ensure your skin is clean and completely dry before replacing. Looking for more detailed information on how to use TENS in labour? You can attend an education session when you hire the TENS unit from the Martyr Mothers Physiotherapy team.
Placing the pads. Locate the area across from the sacrum and the mid-back. The size of the pads will determine how closely to these points you'll want to aim, and place the pads while unplugged from the unit. Here you can actually see, you can find with your hand, you can actually feel for the dimpled points. And usually if you provide slight pressure with your thumb or forefingers, this will feel good to the client and you'll know you're kind of in the right spots around the sacrum. And then for the upper part of the back or mid-back here, you can choose anywhere from the B23 or the B47 zone for that upper back, and you'll get this 4-square component here that supports the mid-back and the lower sacrum area. Applying the sticky pads takes some time, so avoid dropping them or attaching them to clothing. It's also a good idea to dry the birthing person's back thoroughly before they have been in water or have an extra study back from labor. Ideally, it's best to introduce the TENS unit when your client is in a prenatal visit or an intake. After giving them the opportunity to overview the benefits and methods of TENS, consider introducing the TENS in early labor. First, starting by getting your client comfortable in a forward-leaning position while sitting backwards on a chair or over a couch. Start with fresh, unused pads. And just like a hot pack, they are the client's now for multiple use in labor. Get the client comfortable and make sure to apply the pads while they are unplugged to the device and avoid sending sensation to your client. Place the pads over the dimples in the sacrum and the mid-back as shown here. If a client is uncomfortable leaning forward, you can also try standing as well in a place with a nice distracting view. Then let the client start the device and set the rhythm and intensity, starting at the lowest setting and working up to a tolerance point.